folks, Captain Paul here, and Wednesday's video here would be week 54, I believe. Yeah, I think 55 is next week. Me and Peter are going to head to Costa Rica next week, and we'll talk about that in a little bit in next week's video. Next week's video, we're going to talk about a different way of selling your boat, because we're out of boats to sell. And you know, for those guys that want to sell their boats, we're going to talk about a little bit, give you a couple of options of what could happen for somebody that thinks outside the box. That's next week's video before we go to Costa Rica. Also, this week's video is going to be about the struggle of buying that that perfect boat. Does the perfect boat exist? And right now the couch is empty beside me, and that should be Harold and Karen sitting here. And I hope you guys can hear the wind in the background here as I'm sitting here on Southern Estate tied off in the marina. Unfortunately, Harold and Karen are in their dream boat, we'll call it, and they're out in Boot Key Harbor. They came off the hook last night in a pretty big storm that we have, and right now the wind's blowing probably 20 knots, and they can't find an anchorage. And that's the reality of what you're getting yourself into, especially you guys that want to come down here to the Keys. They're number 14 on the mooring balls over there. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit, I got permission from Harold to talk a little bit about his experience of buying that perfect boat. But before I do, what I really want to, I love the email from the guy that, he'll email me, we'll talk, we'll look at a few boats, I'll bring him out here to Southern State, he'll look at Southern State. And then he sends me an email, saying, well, the boat has to have 3 cabins, it has to have, running engines, a generator, 4 air conditioners, 3 heads, and it's got to be under $80,000. So that boat doesn't exist. I can tell you that right now. If it existed, we'd all have a boat, trust me. But I think our expectations and what we find later on in the boat buying experience is completely different than what we originally thought it was going to be. You think you just hire a broker, you go out there, the broker takes you out to the boat, you guys hire a surveyor, you make an offer, or you don't make an offer, but the surveys are usually long and in-depth if you get a good surveyor, and you have to really weigh what was right and what was wrong. And one of the things Harold keeps coming back to me on is he should have just bought the first boat he was on. He goes, that was probably one of the biggest mistakes he made. He spent tens of thousands, and the reason I'm saying that is because I personally know. We probably surveyed 3 boats, and believe it or not, in the end, I didn't survey Southern Estate, he didn't survey the boat he's on. Blue Max wasn't surveyed. It's just, you reach a point after you've paid for so many of these, and your lessons and everything you learn, that sometimes it just doesn't matter. Just buy the boat if you're going to buy the boat. And while we're talking about this real quick, I think you have to approach the boat buying market with this concept and this mindset. And if you do it, you're going to be successful, and you'll be happy. So those are 2 key things right there. And what that mindset needs to be is, let's just say you're going to invest $80,000, $75,000, $100,000, $200,000, $250,000, $300,000, $500,000 into your perfect boat. When you make that investment into the boat, write it off. Just say, if I lost all of that money, what would it do to me financially? If it's going to devastate you and cause badly harm to you and your family, don't get involved in the boat. And have that mindset. If you have that mindset and you approach it that way, and then it's just a blessing from God that you can recoup any of that money, you're going to have a much better experience. And I'll say that because buying Southern Estate, I bought it under good conscience and good faith. In the end, I didn't do a survey on the boat. I just paid the guy cash, and I actually just walked away from the boat. I drove it away from the yard up there in Maine. Actually, I wasn't on the boat. Pete and a good friend of mine was. And even today, when I look back at that 3 years ago, when I was going through all that experience and everything, the whole idea was, if I lost all of that money, and right now I'm probably really close in Southern Estate right now, about $100,000. if Southern Estate sank to the bottom of the ocean right now and I lost every penny of that $100,000, how would it financially affect me? And the answer is, it really wouldn't change my life. I mean, sure, it would hurt. Sure, I would, it may, into my retirement, it's just going to be a different retirement. That's all. It really doesn't. It doesn't affect me. It's not taking any money. It does take money, but it's not. It's over with. I wrote it off a long time ago. If I ever do sell Southern Estate, and I was able to recoup any of the money, or even turn a small profit, it is what it is. It's a blessing from God. But it was from doing my homework. It was from being educated. It was from all the lessons that I learned, and the tens and tens of thousands of dollars that I spent learning these lessons is how I ended up in Southern Estate. And you're going to do the same thing whether you like it or not. I mean, every single boat that I have right now for sale, which next week's video we're going to talk about a different way of buying boats again. But it's a different experience for everybody, and you have to really have that mindset. And once you set that mindset to saying, hey, if I spend this $100,000, or this $80,000, $75,000, or $500,000, and I lost the money, nothing would really change in my life. And that's the way you really got to look at it. Harold's experience, like I said, that we did 3 surveys on 3 different boats. And these are all boats, like when you make the commitment to do a survey on a boat, you think in good faith. We actually physically went out and looked at the boat. I would never tell anybody to make an offer on a boat that you haven't physically walked on and looked at. And then you pay the surveyor, and he goes out and he finds everything that's wrong with the boat. And there's going to be a lot wrong with them. They're used boats. I don't care if it's a new boat. There's going to be a lot wrong with it. It's just the boating market. You just put something in salt water, things go wrong, and that's the truth. That's what no broker will tell you. That's what nobody's selling their boat. Whether you're buying it from a broker, whether you're buying it from a private individual, they're not going to tell you that. But you stick something in salt water, it costs a lot of money to keep it and maintain it. And most people don't maintain them properly. I can tell you that right now. So I know these videos sometimes get negative, and I really don't want the channel to be about that kind of negativity. But I also, at the same time, I want you to know what you're getting yourself into, and that when you do that in good conscience and good faith, that you'll have a great experience when you're doing that. Anyway, God bless. Peace out. Thank you guys so much for all the support on YouTube. Now Pete's on TikTok. You're going to see that next week's video. We talk about it for a second. Anyway, love you guys. Peace out, and thank you. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Bye.